Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Version 1, a podcast where interesting people come to talk about their creative process, imposter syndrome, inspiration, failures along the way, and much more. I'm your host, Waverly, and you can follow the show on Instagram at Version 1 Podcast and subscribe to our Substack, version1podcast.substack.com. You can also find me on buymeacoffee.com/Waverly Colville if you want to support the show. You can listen to this episode wherever you get your podcasts or head over to YouTube to watch the video version. Remember to leave us a nice review and rate us 5 stars. All right, let's get into the episode. All right, everybody, I am here with my guests this week, Mary and Serge Krikorian. Mary and Serge, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for coming on. Can we just start with having you guys introduce yourselves and a little bit about what you do?
Go for it.
Okay. We are Serge and Mary Krikorian. We are a husband and wife team. We've been married for 38 years. We own Vibrant Occassions Catering in Benton, Arkansas, and we started in the restaurant business in 94.
Yep.
94, we kind of got into the restaurant business backwards. We didn't really intend to be restaurateurs. We intended to own our own business when we finished graduate school, and a little carry-out delivery pizza restaurant was all we could afford. And so we bought it and took it to the top 1% in the nation for independent pizza restaurants back in the
Wow.
90s. And we were in our 20s and we thought we were all that and that we knew everything.
Invincible is the word.
Everything there was to know about everything. And so we built a dine-in restaurant and failed spectacularly. Lost everything
Yeah,
in
we
the
did.
dine-in restaurant, came back out, went back into carry out and delivery pizza business because it's what we knew. And one day we're sitting at a ball field with our boys watching one of them play baseball, and one of the moms said, "Hey, can you cater a lunch for me tomorrow?" And we had never catered before, but I'm like, "Sure, we can do that." And we catered something that we had never made before. It was homemade tamales.
Ooh.
And our catering business went poof overnight, to the point that we actually shut down the pizza business and became full-time caterers within a few months of that. Yeah.
Wow, what an incredible story. It sounds like there's a lot of different things to dig into there. So I'm so excited to dive into all of that with you guys because it sounds like such a dynamic story with lots of ups and downs, and it's cool that you've done so many different things. But before all of that, when you guys were children, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be an international export and importer, and that's why I went to college and got my MBA in. And
Yeah.
Mary wanted
I
to.
wanted to be a lawyer, and I am a lawyer. I have my law license, and I haven't practiced since we opened the pizza restaurant back in the 90s. But his favorite line is, "My lawyer's free. How much is yours going to cost?" I tell him he gets what he
What he
Wow.
pays
pays for.
for.
That's awesome. So you guys it sounds like you guys both were on like different trajectories before going into food and hospitality. So what kind of made you go into food and hospitality over your planned careers, it sounds like?
Mine was honestly, I was in a different career, and to be frank, it wasn't a very good company, and it was a very toxic company, and it was to the point where I needed to change. My job at age 22 was actually to go basically terminate people, and because we had merged with another company, and I was in charge, and I couldn't do that. And so I looked at the paper and I saw Taco Bell hiring multi-unit managers. Never had experience in fast food, never knew anything about running a restaurant business. I walked in there. That was my second interview of my life, because the first one was
Wow.
the first job, and they hired me, and so that's where I started my food business anyway.
Yeah.
And your producer,
He bought a restaurant and I ended up coming every lunch hour. I was clerking for a judge at that point, and I would come on my lunch hour wearing my suit and my heels and help him work a lunch rush and then go back to the office smelling like pizza. And so we had our first son in 94, and at that point we're like, okay, we're either going to make the restaurant work or we're both going to go get grown-up jobs and stop playing at being a restaurateur. So after our first son was born, I quit practicing law and came and worked with him full time, and that was in
Awesome.
94, and we've worked together ever since.
Wow, that's incredible. What was it about the food industry that made you realize, like, okay, this is the path forward? Like, we want to put everything into this direction.
Mike, to me, I come from Lebanon and I'm Armenian. And just so you know, if you want to know anybody louder than Italians around the table, Armenians are actually louder. But that's what brings us all together. And so food was always a term of endearment for me. And mom and dad, just every Sunday we eat meals together. So I had a love for actually cooking in the first place. So that's what started me in that trajectory, and I really enjoyed it. And the pizza was simple,
Mhm.
but it's such a popular dish. And with her and I working together, we made it a success, and we continued. And so
Yeah. Food is love. In our family, food is love. My oldest and his wife just had a baby, and our first thought was, let's fill their freezer with food
food.
so that they don't have to cook while, they're taking care of a newborn. And as to the catering, I tell people that I get to be with people on their best days now instead of their worst days. As a caterer, we cater a lot of weddings, and um, it's rewarding to go and see the instant gratification on the faces of the people who are enjoying your food and enjoying your service. So that's it for me. It's the instant high of knowing that what you do for a living is appreciated and well received.
It's not just about the food. You brought a lot of people together at that point and made something different. Make them
Yeah.
make happy moments, and
Yeah.
that's what I see in food.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so beautifully put because food plays such an important role in our lives. I mean, everybody
Yep.
has to eat, and the way that it can contribute to an environment or an event is so important. So that's wonderful that it's so beautifully put the way you guys put
Well,
it.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
So I want to go back to Sergio's Pizza. So before you were doing the catering, and so you grew it to what? Wait, could you repeat what you said at the beginning? You grew it
Number
to one
one
of
in
Top
the
the
name.
top percent in the nation for independent pizza restaurants.
That's so incredible. Like, how do you find that out, first of all? And like, how did you grow it to that point?
Honestly, it was and the best concept, and we call it rob and duplicate. I'm not going to sit here and say anything
Instead
else.
of R&D research and
Yeah,
development, it's Robin.
we first thing we did, we wanted to educate ourselves, so we did go to Cater Source, which is the
No, no, no.
not
Pizza
Cater Source,
Expo.
Pizza Expo, which is the education side, and you learn so much from other experts. And what we did was bring it to our market, and we were a very small market. We live in a community back then; it was 18,000 population. So we implemented what the big boys were doing essentially, and into in a small market, and it really grew exponentially.
Yeah.
We're talking about 30%, 40% growth on a year to year over
Wow.
year basis, and working together. We do two different things, and so we're synergistic, and we had a great team. I'm not gonna s- and we had a great team in place. And yeah, luck has something to do with it
Yeah.
as well. Just like everything else, you're right place at the right time. As a matter of fact, one of the stories I will tell you, a main competitor came in town and energized us to the point, because they came into the restaurant and said, "We're going to shut you
A
down." In
national
national chain, yeah,
pizza
yeah.
chain.
And the vice
Wow.
president came in and said, "Hey, we're going to shut you down in a span of 3 months, so might as well just go." And that
That's
energized
so
us.
mean.
Yeah, you know what? Different times. Let's,
They ended up shutting down
yeah,
instead of
yeah,
us
and that's
in
what
our
happened.
town.
3 years later, and
Yeah.
we were still in the
Wow.
market, and they were not.
Yeah.
And but that energized me, and generally, when somebody gives me a challenge, it really motivates me and our team.
Yeah.
And with her on my side, we were invincible. So.
Wow, that's incredible that you guys were able to beat out, a nationally, owned chain or something like that. Like that's awesome that you guys were able to do that. When you started the pizzeria, did you imagine it would be as successful as it
No,
became?
no. And not only that, had we stayed in it, it would have been a different trajectory. But again, you think you're invincible. You do something. We brought in something really, really huge in this market. Our first real nice sit down restaurant, and obviously we didn't do as well.
No, we did not.
Was the sit down restaurant part of Sergio's or was it a different
It
restaurant?
was,
It
but we
was.
expanded on the concept instead of sticking to what we knew how to do. We thought, oh, we really were. We were in our 20s. We thought we knew everything there was to know about everything. And so we built out a whole entire Italian line of dishes. In addition to the pizza, we tried to keep the delivery in place, which didn't work with the full menu and didn't work with the dine-in. And the staff that we had no idea what we were doing or how to prepare the food or how to. We none of us had any real
Culinary
culinary
experience.
experience
Yeah.
or managing a dine-in restaurant. So it was a completely different thing for us from the carry out and delivery
So
pizza.
many lessons learned.
So many lessons learned.
Yeah, what were some of those lessons?
Well, one of the things I will tell you first thing, the day we shut the restaurant, and the week we shut the restaurant, we were sitting at watching TV.
We
Yeah,
were sitting
you tell
watching.
you tell the story better.
Shut down the restaurant. We had 3 children. And it probably wasn't a week after we shut down, probably a month after
Yeah,
we
may
shut
have been a
down.
month.
We're sitting on the couch watching TV, and all of a sudden I realized that my children were in the same room that we were in because we had been on this merry-go-round going round and round and round, and we didn't realize we were spinning. But our children knew that we were not in a
Good frame of
good
mind.
frame of mind. So when we came home, they were in their rooms and we were in our rooms. And so when we stepped off the merry-go-round and realized it was us that was spinning and not the world, we calmed down. We're sitting on our couch and my kids are there and just started crying because it was the first time I could remember in a very long time that as a family we were sitting together doing something together, not focused on, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, we're losing this restaurant. How do we save it? So
And instead, we concentrated the
we
next
caught
7, 8 years on
yeah.
our kids.
We probably spent way too much time in
Baseball
fields.
fields and a lot of things we did. But that's one of the biggest lessons I learned, how important family was, and also to stick to what as far as the business goes. We went back into the pizza carryout and we were getting it back successful, but something fell on our
Yeah.
lap, and it was corporate business, catering. We were done by 3 o'clock
Mhm.
at the latest. We can pick up our kids. We can love on them. We can go to their concerts. We can go to the ball games. We can do all this. So we pretty much stayed in the corporate side of catering until they got to the point where they were a lot more self-sufficient. So
Gotcha. So it sounds like the restaurant failing kind of was a reset of your priorities and
absolutely,
Absolutely.
values.
absolutely.
Yeah. But what was it like emotionally at the time? Because I can imagine having one of the most successful pizza restaurants in the country going from that sort of high to then, having to shut down your business. I can imagine that was probably really difficult.
It is,
It was
and yeah, it was
devastating.
it was.
It was devastating.
And at age, I think I was 33 years old, and I don't share this very often. As a matter, I don't know if I've ever shared this, but I was the doctor. My doctor was also, I would call him, a mentor of mine, and he looked at me and said, you know, you're 33 years old. I guarantee you won't see your 40 if you don't stop. And
Wow.
yeah, and when he said that, that triggered something because I was as stubborn as I could. And he drew you're an A-type personality, and he always drew some things, to show you what it was. And he said, your personality is you're not going to give up. But here's what I'm going to tell you, because you're not giving up, uh, you know, and you're going to lose, something very healthy. You're going to lose your health essentially. And same thing with Mary. I mean, we were just going and going. I remember working 80, 90 hours a week, and to work those hours instead of working on the business and smart, we were just working in there
Mhm.
trying to keep it going, and that didn't work. That was a really, really failed concept. It was a failed concept from day one. It was my stubbornness that really kept us going into that merry-go-round. So lesson learned, learn from your mistakes and
Yeah.
accept them quickly.
Looking back, what role has that failure, do you think, played in your life?
One of the biggest thing is life is too short.
Much too short.
Love on your family, enjoy where you work, and because it was a miserable place to be working,
Mhm.
love on your employees because you know what, that's essentially those are the two big lessons that we had from there.
Yeah, you spend a lot of times more waking hours with your employees than you do with your family, except for us. We live together and
Yeah.
work together. You know? Um, so why not make it a happy place to come to work? Why not make it so that they enjoy what they do and they're invested in your business, and that just makes them work harder and try harder to make sure everything goes the way it's supposed to go. That was a big lesson. That was a really big
Yeah.
lesson that employees are not replaceable. They are the eyes and the hands and the voices of your business, and you want those eyes and hands and voices to be a positive reflection of your business as opposed to a negative reflection of your business
The most important assets in reality in
Mhm.
an organization.
or their employees.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Do you view that experience now, looking back, as sort of like a blessing in disguise of sorts?
absolutely. Gaining, I mean, it's no
It
question
was an
about it.
expensive
It was a
lesson.
very expensive
It
lesson.
was an expensive
I'm not
lesson.
gonna sit here to, because we lost everything. The only thing that we ended up, was basically we didn't lose our house essentially.
Yeah.
So that's how devastating that was. But on the other hand, we gained our family. We raised three amazing boys.
Man,
Men now, yeah, 31,
yeah.
31, 29. And we messed up in a lot of places, but at least we can
We
always
we
say
can
we're
always say
so
we did
proud of
good
our
with our
kids.
kids
They all
Yeah.
went to school and they're doing
very
fairly
well.
well.
I
And
no longer have to support any of them. So that's a good
That's awesome. Yeah,
yeah,
and it sounds like when you did have that reprioritization of your family once your business had shut down, that kind of led you into catering because that's how you met that was it your mom,
moms,
a
like a
yeah,
mom in the
friend's
baseball
mom.
field.
baseball field,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that asked you for that first catering job. So when you were asked by that mom to help out with her event, did you see it as like, oh, maybe this is a new opportunity, we could go into catering, or did you see it as, oh, this is a one-time thing, and then it kind of clicked later for you?
It was a one-time thing.
Yeah.
It really was. At the point when she asked what we had been exploring, and at that point in time, home meal replacement was a huge industry in around, in the country, where chefs would go into private homes, shop, cook, leave the food there for the family to eat the rest of the week. And so we had set up a business, got it all legally organized and everything, called Dinner's Ready, which was going to be a home meal replacement business. And that's kind of what I had in my mind when she asked me was, oh, this could be a stepping stone to get away from just being seen as pizza, to be able to offer other things, to be able to build our home meal replacement business. And so when we catered, since we already had the name set up, we catered under the
Dinner's
Dinner's
ready.
Ready name. And we did that until, well, we still have the Dinner's Ready name. The Dinner's Ready just does different
Brand,
kinds
yeah.
of catering than my Vibrant Occasions brand. My Vibrant brand is weddings and galas and fundraisers and big events that require a lot of staffing and a lot of planning and a lot of service. Dinner's Ready does more corporate stuff, which is drop off catering, and all day conferences, things like that.
Gotcha.
But in 2017,
Yeah.
2017, we had been talking about starting Vibrant Occasions for a couple of years. And my accountant looked at us and said, okay, I've heard enough about this. You're either going to do it or you're not. I don't want to hear about it anymore if you're not going to do it. So we organized Vibrant Occasions, and it became the umbrella company that consumed Dinners Ready. And we launched the Vibrant Occasions brand in 2017. Scared to death we were going to lose more corporate business before we were able to pick up the social aspect of it. But it didn't work out that way. The Vibrant Occasions brand took off immediately. And it also coincided with our kids getting out of high school,
Yeah.
getting out of high school sports and that kind of thing, where we were no longer needed in ball fields nights and weekends. We had the ability to go and cater nights and
Weddings
weekends
and yeah.
with the social events. So
Oh, cool. Yeah, I want to ask you about something you touched on and something I read on your website as well is you describe Vibrant Occasions as an unspoken dream on your website. And you kind of hinted at that in the answer of like, you kind of like had it, you were talking to your accountant about it and your accountant was like, okay, just do it. So like, I was curious, like, um, how was it an unspoken dream? And then like, what was like the final push to kind of get you to like take the
It
leap other than I
it
guess
it
your
really
accountant
yeah.
encouraging
Yeah,
you?
it really goes back to what we talk about, the food being, we wanna be in okay, here's our tagline, "Happy people making people happy." And
Oh, I love that.
we live we wanted to make sure we're, upping the game, 'cause as you know from our conversation, we're very competitive, okay? We wanted to be the top caterer in the market, no questions about it. And part of the way, or the only way to do that, is a stepping stone from just corporate into doing events, doing complicated events, and that's our passion.
mhm.
At that point, our culinary skills had improved. We had an amazing team, and we kept pushing the umbrella. Again, going back to what we talked about, R&D, robbing and duplicating, we really invested a lot of time educating ourselves. And before we got into Vibrant Occasions, we went to those conferences, we got educated, and not just in one or two or three conferences, but also uh, got some expert involved and to teach us so that we can actually do a good job training our team to get to the level we wanted to
So
get
we
to.
didn't make the same mistake that we made with the dine-in restaurant. We prepared ourselves beforehand and gathered the knowledge of how to run a luxury catering company, unlike we didn't figure out how to run a dine-in
Yeah.
restaurant.
Gotcha. Yeah, you did your homework before you
Yes.
kind of fully
Yes,
jumped in.
yes.
How would you define creativity and the context of catering?
Oh,
Everything's
yeah.
creativity in catering. I mean, every day you find something different to do, from how you present the food on a plate, because people eat with their eyes before they eat with their mouth. And so if the food looks beautiful, you've won half the battle because they already think it tastes good. From setting up displays and finding new things to add as props to your displays, to figuring out, creative food stations. So we have one station where we hang tomahawk steaks from hooks, and my chefs cook them with flamethrowers.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
Yeah.
yeah, it's very cool. And we have brides that will come over and take the flamethrower and cook their own steak,
Yeah.
and so that's just a fun experience for everybody. And then, of course, the creativity of the cooking.
Yeah, absolutely. And our innovation is part of our core values, one of five. So we live on that. I mean, our culture's set for innovation. As a matter of fact, we have innovation hour, and not in just culinary, but also in catering, where people can spend some time learning, and just find fun stuff out there. And a lot of it also has to do with, again, learning from other caterers. Caterers are really different than restaurateurs. We help each other. We have a community out there that you can ask, hey, because Mary will come in and goes, "Look, I need to do a plated meal for 500 people, all steak, all medium. How are you going to do this?" And obviously there are other people that do this, so we ask that question, and they're very happy to give you insight on how to get it executed. And when you do, like Mary said, it is so much, the rush is amazing,
Yeah.
and that's what we thrive on. Being a leader in the industry, keeping it fun in our environment. I got a workstation downstairs, 1,000 square feet, that just designed to building fun stuff, things that people haven't done before, or it hasn't been done in this market, so that we can get it exciting, to be different, because we it's not just the food, it's the fun. There's an entertainment side of it. There's also, keeping our team engaged. My fun title is CIO, which is Chief Innovation Officer, and that's what I go every day. I try to find out what people are doing that's different, and encourage that in every single department, trying to make sure we stay ahead of the game. And that's essentially one of our competitive advantages.
And, we live in a society where everybody's looking for an Instagrammable moment.
Yeah.
And an Instagrammable moment means something that nobody's seen before. So that's kind of our driving force too, is that we want to keep upping the game and offering things that people haven't seen or experienced before.
And what you do is you get your team involved. They get so excited. She mentioned the tomahawks. It's amazing. Every team member at the event wanted to try it as well. So all of a sudden, it became a teaching moment. It's like everybody wants to play with fire. Let's face it. Everybody wants to just. And all of a sudden, we were able to take this opportunity and teach not just the chefs who are running it, but some younger team members who've been with us for a while to learn something new, a new skill, which all of a sudden makes us even better.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds like such a cool experience. What are some of the other like sort of unique like Instagrammable moments that you guys offer with food? Like the steak example was like so cool. I want to look up a video of that after this. But yeah, do you have
Yeah,
any other
It's out
examples?
there.
out there, yes, it really. We have a slider station. So go ahead.
Well, we stole this one from another caterer. Again, rob and duplicate, but
They gave us the
they
they
gave
gave us the
us the
schematic. Yeah,
schematics to
yeah,
build it. They
yeah.
know we stole it, but we built a slide and so we
Oh,
have the little
cool.
slider burgers, and we slide it down the slide, and the customer catches it, the guest catch it at the end of the slide.
The fun you see at people's faces, they just they light up when they see that.
Yeah.
And yes, it's a beautiful display, very simple. I mean, all it is, it's a slide, but the excitement you see in people's faces on the other end just makes you want to do it more. That's just one example. I mean, we things.
Oh, we set donut holes on fire on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Whoa.
When he told me he was going to set donut holes on fire, I'm like, that's just stupid. But he takes butter and brown sugar and cinnamon and lights it on fire with PGA, and then rolls donut holes through it, so it makes this ooey gooey caramelly yummy. And then we serve it over vanilla ice cream. So
Wow.
Kind of take on a bananas Foster.
yeah,
Yeah, but it's
with
just
donut holes.
with donut holes.
And
Yeah.
people get so excited to watch us play with fire. And so far, I've only set my bangs on fire once.
Yeah. And I always have a
Oh
fire
no.
extinguisher handy.
Those experiences are so cool, and I could totally see how it sets you apart from other caterers because you are having these like very unique experiences tied in with your food. I'm curious, like, how do you come up with ideas or desigine these like intricate experiences? Because that's very creative. That's
It
super
takes a village.
interesting.
We actually have yeah, we have a leadership team. And somebody comes with an idea. We have basically an hour to what we call it is make it vibrant. Mive is one of our taglines again. It's called make it vibrant. How do we
Make it vibrant
mive
every
it?
day.
Yeah, every day. How do you mive an event? Okay, let's come up with something creative. We got a team of leadership team. Somebody comes up with an idea, and another person will take that to a new level. All of a sudden, this small simple idea becomes such an interesting event. And at that point, with the leadership buying off on this idea, it becomes really simple to execute because everybody's got they got a vested interest in it. They've invested in it, so therefore it's important for it to succeed, and they take it on. And next thing we know, we build something, and we're ready to go.
That's incredible. That's really cool. I want to dive into your creative process when it comes to figuring out what you're gonna serve for an event. So, like, let's say a client comes to you and says, "Hey, I would love for you guys to cater my event." What are some of the first initial steps in your creative process to kind of begin designing what that looks like for them?
Well, we start with food is memories. Okay. You remember what you ate for Thanksgiving at your mom's house when you were little.
And it tasted so much better than it does now.
But food evokes memories. So when I start talking to someone about what they want to serve at their thing, I ask them, how do you want your guests to feel? Do you want them to feel like it's an elegant event and that they've been treated with white glove service, or do you want them to feel like it's a fun event and we're partying and we're dancing and we're having a good time? And then we start talking about, especially like with couples, um, where did they go on their first date? What was their first meal together? What did they eat when on the day they got engaged? What's their favorite restaurant to go to? What is their go-to meal when, they want to feel comfort and love? And we even a lot of times brides will ask, or clients will ask if we can do a family recipe. And we say, we can, but it's never gonna taste like your mom's. Mom always has that secret ingredient that she doesn't quite write down on the recipe when she's making something. And so one bride had her mother come in to our facility and teach him how to make
It's
empanadas,
no, it wasn't empanada. It was African, some kind of African
an
pies.
African pie, an
Yeah,
African meat
yeah,
pie.
which was yeah meat pie, and
Cool.
and
So she came in and she took him through the whole process of how to make African meat pies. And we went to the wedding and we served them. And the bride came up afterwards and says, "Don't tell my mom, but yours were better." And so, that's just what we do. We don't have a set menu that this is it. This is the only thing we're going to offer you to cater. We try to listen and we try to take in what they're looking for and then create something that fits what they're looking for.
Very cool. I love that you lead sort of with like an emotions forward approach of like starting off with like, yeah, like what emotions do you want to provoke or what memories that you have? Because it makes it feel very like individual, like
yes.
instead of like being like, okay, here's like choose one of three entrees or
Yeah.
whatever.
And Mary's also head of sales, and we actually shared this, believe it or not. You would think that wouldn't be, but we work well together. But I listened to her, and it's shocking. I feel the shock from the bride or the groom when they hear those questions because that's not what they're expecting. So the first 5, 10 minutes, I feel like all it is a conversation that Mary starts just to learn enough so that we can take some kind of a direction. So that's where it starts. And again, from there it goes to culinary, catering, and this amazing leadership team that we've put together that really try to execute the vision. So
Yeah, absolutely. If someone doesn't have like a particular or like a specific like food in mind, they just know they want to like provoke like a certain emotion or something like that. Like, could you give me some examples of like what foods evoke what emotions? Like, how do you pair those two things together?
Well, I mean, the easiest example is comfort food. What did your mom make for you growing up? What is your comfort meal? Mine is probably
mashed potatoes.
mashed potatoes, which I'm not supposed to eat, but I love mashed potatoes. But we start there. Comfort food is easy. Or where do you go when you go out to eat? What are your go-to restaurants? What do you order in those go-to restaurants? Because if you like the food that you're serving your guests are going to enjoy the food that you're serving them. They're your family and friends, and they want you to get what you want um, on your day.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. How would you describe the challenges that caterers face when preparing food for hundreds of people versus when you were working in a restaurant and preparing food individually?
You know, it's a completely different uh done it in a restaurant, and it's such a completely different uh
Process.
process. And it to us, it really is so much easier to go ahead and feed 300, 400 people than to do a tasting in reality. Because by the time
Oh,
we make it
interesting.
to the 300 and 400, we've at least tried it. Like I'm working on a tasting tomorrow with our culinary team, Ropa Vieja. Done it once, and that was 5, 6 years ago. And it's a lot of Peruvian food that I've never done before, and so we're working on it this for the tasting, and it's taking four of us to just do, this one dish that, for two people. And,
Yeah.
but by the time we get there, we're so streamlined. Um, Everything's made differently, like you have to undercook your vegetables because you're making it here, they're eating it 2 hours or an hour down the road, so you got to make sure when we're serving it, it's at the perfect temperature, it's at the perfect so the processes are so different, yet um again, 20 years plus, you get to learn the systems. And we also are known to finish a lot of things on site.
Yeah.
Just because it was, that makes us it's not just cook it over here, put it in the in our Cambros and taking them. If it's fried food, for example, we take our fryers. We also have if it's something like a steak, we take our grills, or even have a mobile kitchen, which is a small replica of our kitchen with all the proper equipment that we take on site and finish something, to make sure it is at the top quality that our clients are accustomed to, or we want to make sure
Very
they
cool.
get. So
That's
it's
awesome.
different, but it's somewhat similar. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. What do you have any differences in your creative approach when you are working for a wedding versus a corporate event versus, another type of event? Like how does like the different types of event influence your creativity?
Absolutely, and this is something we're dealing with right now with Dinner's Ready, because we want, look, Dinner's Ready. What do corporate? What are the goals for the wedding? It's more like
Emotions.
emotions.
Emotion.
Emotions is not going to go to a corporate executive lunch. It's more like making sure you're there on time, making sure you look professional, making sure the food looks good, and so there's different standards, and
Making sure the food's not messy,
yeah,
because you don't want to be in a professional setting
with a nice little,
eating a bowl of spaghetti with meatballs with the
all over your
spaghetti down the
face.
front
Yeah.
of your white dress shirt,
So you
so
have to
you
be
have to
very,
think
yeah.
about different foods for corporate versus and also the way that they hold, um because with a wedding, for instance, we have staff on side, so we can add the sauces and add the garnishes and all of that at the last minute, so that we don't have to worry about things getting soggy and things getting, you know um undesirable. But with a corporate event, we can't do that. We're taking it, we're dropping it off. We have to trust that they're going to treat that food, that when they open it up to eat it, it's going to be the way it's supposed to be, and it hasn't, for lack of a better word, wilted, because it had a sauce on top of it that couldn't withstand sitting for any
Sitting,
length
yep.
of time.
So yeah.
And with corporate, you also want to make sure that you're not putting people to sleep. So you don't want to serve them something heavy for lunch that's going to make them drowsy for their afternoon sessions. You want to serve them something, we call them power bowls, things that provide mind improving instead of mind numbing, kind of
Yet
a
good.
great, yet
Yet
good, yet
delicious.
delicious. Yeah.
Very cool. And working together as a couple and building a business together, I was curious, how do you guys balance each other out? Because I can imagine, like working with your spouse, you have a work relationship, but you also have a very personal, obviously personal one, so I'm
Go for
curious,
it.
like what each of you brings to the table and how you guys counter and balance each other.
The way I describe it is, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Enneagram, but the Enneagram is a personality test that tells you what your innate personality is. And Serge is a 7, which the sevens are very enthusiastic and happy and full of ideas, and they jump from idea to idea to idea. Their animal is sometimes referred to as the happy monkey or the butterfly, flitting from this to this to this. But what he also has is the ability to see a whole bunch of different things at the same time. So he's my eagle, and he's flying above the trees, and he's looking down, and he's plotting a course through the trees to get from where we are to where he wants us to be. I am a 1, which means that I like processes and I like things to be done certain ways, and I
And her way is the best way.
is the best. It's my personality. I can't help it. But my management animal is a beaver, and I'm down in the trees, and I'm hacking down trees trying to get the path built that he has laid out for us to go through. So I'm the detail person. I'm the one that's down there working through the details and finding a way to get us from point A to point B. And then he's already on point D, and I have to not only get from B to C but from C to D. And I was kind of really offended by the fact that I saw myself as a beaver for a while, and somebody sent me something that said a beaver is the only creature in the world that has the power to move the most powerful force on earth, the flow of water. And so I like to think that I'm the powerful beaver down there, hacking down trees, getting us where we're supposed to go.
Wow, I love that. That's so well said.
We do completely
Completely
different
different
things,
things.
and we've learned throughout the years. I mean, I deal with the personnel, all the operations side of it, and we've learned really early on. They go to the favorite parent.
Favorite parent.
Yeah,
It's kind of like children.
yeah,
They go to the one that they think they're going to get the answer they want
yeah.
from. And so, we've learned after working together for so many years, that's a Serge question, go ask Serge, or that's a Mary question, go ask Mary. We don't answer questions in each other's
Domain.
domain, basically.
Gotcha. It sounds like you guys have like a good, like sort of healthy separation of like, okay, you do this, I do that sort of
Yes.
balance. I
Yes.
love it. As you guys were talking about your personalities, I'm like, oh my God, that sounds like my boyfriend and I. He's very like all over the place with ideas, and I'm very like methodical. So I love
Yeah.
it. I'm in a similar relationship dynamic.
Yeah.
Um, over the years, have you guys ever experienced feelings of self-doubt or imposter syndrome?
Oh gosh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you every time, especially, when we were young and we started pizza, not so much because we were right out of grad school and we thought that we knew what we needed to know to run a business. But when we transitioned into Vibrant Occasions and started doing the bigger events and, the 800 count plated dinners and you know, we sold a lot of things before we knew how to execute them. And then once they were sold, we figured it out. And again, that comes from having a network of other caterers at our disposal to call and say, okay, I just sold this either or plate, a chicken or a beef plate to 800 people. Tell me how I'm going to plate it and get it to the right guest at the right table at the right time. And so, but you're selling things that you don't know how to do in the beginning. Fortunately, that doesn't happen a whole lot
It
anymore.
doesn't, and part of
Except for tomorrow's tasting.
a lot of it also has to do, I mean, something that we have not mentioned too much of. We really do have an amazing team.
Yes.
Yeah, when I say we have the best of the best
Mhm.
that have vested so much into, they've vested their heart into this business, and it makes it so much easier to tackle when you have the confidence of, hey, no matter what happens, I have an amazing team that's going to figure it out
Figure it out.
and that's going to execute it flawlessly 99.9% of the time. And yes, do mistakes happen? They do, but we already know it. And it's a part of the system. Things are going to go wrong. Now, do we have systems to make sure the guest doesn't know it's going to go wrong? And that's that. So there's a lot of systems in place that gives us the confidence to be able to, sell things out of the ordinary and stretch. And also, again, it's not just the leadership team. One of the things, I don't know, we haven't even talked about this as much, but we're a completely different company than most places that you hear of. We really have invested. We're what you call is a heart-led company, and we have, I think,
What that means is, by going to Heart Leadership and learning about Heart Leadership, for me, it was a huge turnaround. It was a 180-degree turnaround because up until that point, I cared about my employees. I wanted them to be happy, but in the end of the day, it was my business. It was my responsibility. I was the one that had to pay the bills. I was the one that had to make sure their paychecks cleared the bank. And so if you're not going to do it the way I want it done, then go away and I'll find somebody else who can come and do your job. And heart leadership, and I talked about it earlier, our employees are the hands and the faces and the voices of our business. And that's what heart leadership taught us, is that you have to treat them as your most valuable asset of the business. And you have to instill in them a sense of self-confidence and self-worth, that even if they make a decision that's different from the decision that I personally would have made, as long as nobody is negatively impacted from that decision, as long as the job gets done and the client is happy, it's okay that they're not doing it my way. It's okay that I had, I talk about climbing a mountain with it. I have a way up the mountain, and in my head, it's the most direct, least treacherous way to get to the top of the mountain. But if somebody else has another path to the top, and as long as they get to the same destination that I was trying to get to, it's okay if they have a different path to get there. And that's what heart leadership. So we have currently somewhere around 85 to 100 people on call for our catering company. And probably 95+% of them are related to or close friends with a coworker. So our staff recruit their own family and friends to come work with us because they like where they work and they like the environment. And it's not always a fun thing. It's hard work. Catering is hard work. But when you work and you succeed with a family or a friend, it's that much more gratifying.
And
Yeah.
that is basically our competitive advantage.
Mhm.
If you want to know what the true competitive advantage is, Vibrant Occasions has over anybody else, is our staff, and the fact that we can do multiple 5, 6 events on a weekend, same time, and our head of catering, we go, Caitlin, we need 65 people to on Saturday, and people care enough, even though some of them have different jobs, even though some of them live in different cities, and she can recruit, and we have everything staffed, and the fact that they want to come and help us on busy times makes it that much more uh, gives us essentially the competitive advantage over anybody else.
During COVID, when everybody was saying we can't find people to work, nobody will come work. And during COVID, when everybody was laying people off, we didn't lay off anybody.
Oh,
We didn't
wow.
let anybody go. We figured out how we bought the mobile kitchen
Yeah.
and operated it as a food truck, so that our kitchen staff had food to cook, and our catering people had jobs to go and sell the food out of the food truck. So we were able to retain all of our full-time people, the people that work every day. Some of the part-time people that already had other jobs, no, but we didn't let anybody go. And when they opened us back up, and we are in a Republican state, so we got opened back up to cater fairly quickly. I think we got shut down in April,
March.
late March and of 2020, and we got opened back up to cater in June. Um, Even then, we were able to staff our events. We were able to, and sometimes it was spouses and siblings and parents of, the employees who worked for us, who came and helped to staff the events. But we were fully staffed, and that's a blessing to be able to, because some of our people, I have a mother and daughter duo. They're both part of my leadership team, and mom's been here for probably 16, 17 years, and daughter's been here for 13 or 14 years. um Mother's other three children have all worked
Mhm.
for us. Her husband has worked for us. Daughter's daughter now works for us. So we
Three
have three
generations. Yeah.
generations working for us.
Wow.
Um, we have brothers that work in our kitchen, cousins that work downstairs in our catering department, um, fathers and daughters, brothers and sisters. It's just,
It
it
really
really
is
is a family-owned
family.
business.
When we say family-owned business,
Yeah.
not just the family as in here. I mean, we have our niece. Our niece works.
Is
All our kids
have
they
worked here.
have worked here, and we recruit them when and they're happy to come and help us at any moment. That's essentially like what going back to. That's our competitive advantage. That has been
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like also both yourselves and the people that work for you are very resourceful and creative, and like as you talked about, like problem solving, or you couldn't do events during COVID, so you jumped to doing the food trucks. Like, so it sounds like you all are very resourceful and innovative and creative. What are some of the other qualities that you think make a successful caterer?
Um, makes
For us, for us particularly, we've touched on this, finding mentors, finding people who have been doing that, because we're completely self-taught. It started out with the mom in the ball field asking for a lunch. We learned this. We taught ourselves, and you don't know what you don't know until you ask somebody else. What 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 do you how do you do this? This is what we're doing. How do you do this? And it just really, when you're young and you think that you know all the answers, you don't ask anybody for anything, because you don't want to admit that you don't know
yeah.
what you're doing. And that goes back to the imposter syndrome of, I don't want to tell anybody that I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of flying by the seat of my pants. And as we got older and we found mentors in the business, and people that, when we started down the journey of the heart leadership, we had an issue with, how do we have hard conversations with employees who are not meeting our company's core values? And we called a mentor, and he said, "You're doing that employee a strong disservice by being unhappy with them
And
and not
telling
telling them what they're doing wrong and how they need to change their behavior in order to meet your expectations of their job
the requirements. Yeah.
performance." Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What is your definition of success?
That's a really, really interesting question. My definition, and I would probably say both of our definition, is having a great place to work. Uh, Not necessarily, and I say that because we love what we do, and loving what you do is so important. I love coming to work. Most
Most
days.
days.
But I really love. I come in every morning with a great frame of mind, just talking to everybody, yeah, and seeing how they were doing. Pick people up, pick them up if they're down, because you know what I want them to bring their whole self. If you're down, don't just leave it out there and be miserable. No, let me know. See if I can help, and if I can, that's to me taking care of people is success. And part of it is also is financial success, because it really is a great means to get to an end result, and that's where I would call our success, in recent years have been
I would
just
say the financial success followed, though, making it a good place to work.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Uh, you know, uh, that it really is. I love the fact that we are one of the premier caterers in our market. That gives me, that helps my ego a little bit, just a little bit. But also, sharing those successes with our team, because they get so energized. They get so energized with what we do. That's
Yeah. We are as proud of the awards that we win for being the best place to work as we are for the awards that we win for being best caterer.
yeah,
And the staff, the culinary team gets so excited when they see their food being presented in national magazines. Hey, that's my food.
yeah.
That's my food in that magazine. Look at that. And getting that kind of recognition, it just really goes a long way to reaffirming that they're very good at what they do.
I love that. All right, Serge and Mary, this has been wonderful. Are you ready to move into the lightning round?
Go for it.
Let's do
I
it.
punt real quickly, just so you know.
No pressure. It doesn't actually have to be lightning. What is something new that you've tried lately? And it can be anything. It doesn't have to be related to catering or anything we talked
Quilting.
about.
Quilting.
Quilting.
We just had our first
Cool.
grandbaby, a little boy, and
Congratulations.
yes, thank you. He's perfect. He's absolutely perfect, and we're in love. But I wanted to make things for him, and I knew how to sew, but I
Aw.
had never finished. And I had played with quilting, but I had never appliqued. And so I found a really cute applique quilt, and I made it for him, and it turned out really well. And so now I have cost him a whole lot of money with quilting notions and sewing machines and sewing machine cabinets and all of that, but it was pretty good.
My grandparenting for me, that would
Yeah.
be it, because that's something. It's the instantaneous bond that you feel for a little human being. Just
Aw.
yeah, just I don't know how to describe it. Just
Yeah.
yeah,
We're in
yeah.
love.
We yeah. It just
I
yeah.
love that. No, that's so exciting. My sister is pregnant with her first baby, and
Uh-huh.
so my mom's about to become a grandma, and
Oh,
yeah, we're very excited.
from a new grandparent, it's the best feeling
Yeah,
ever.
it really is.
It really is.
I bet, I bet. Oh, well, congratulations to you and your family. That's
Thank you.
wonderful. Do you have a lesson or a message that you want to share with listeners?
I think what Mary, and I'm going to repeat what Mary said earlier. Don't be proud. Find a mentor. There's a lot of people out there that really have done this. It's so much easier to go ask for help than for you to make the mistakes just because you're proud.
And realize that business, when you're in school, they tell you that this is the right answer and that's the wrong answer, and it's all black and white. In business, it's all shades of gray. There's no absolute best answer or absolute worst answer. You just kind of have to sort through it. And having a mentor, they may not have the answer to give you, but they can raise questions of, have you thought about this and have you thought about that, that kind of helps steer you towards the better answer,
hmm
as opposed to, you know, having to do all that by yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And what is one thing you wish you knew when you were first starting out?
Oh, that's a good one.
Again, it's not all black and white.
Yeah,
There,
that would
that
be
would
a
have been a really good thing to know when we were first starting out, that there's not always a wrong answer and a right answer. And sometimes you just have to figure out the least worst answer. Sometimes they're all bad choices and you just have to figure out the least bad choice and go with it.
and mine would be because I was a top-down leader or manager, but the lesson I learned that if your people don't buy off, just even like as simple as your core values or your mission statement, if they don't know what it means, you're not giving them clarity, and they're not taking the right path. And that's how you grow a company, is making sure there's clarity in your mission, there's clarity in your core values, there's clarity in your vision. And if you can
And
accomplish
buy off.
and
Buy
yeah,
off from
and
your
there's
and buy off from
absolute
your team.
and that's where you get buy off. That's when you show a lot of success, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Well, Serge and Mary, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Where can everybody find you, hire you for their next event, check you out, tell us all the things?
Well, I can start with Vibrant Occasion, www.vibrantoccasions.com. I know that one. The rest of it's going to come from her.
Everything else, all the other socials are at Vibrant Occasions Catering. So you can find us
Perfect.
on Instagram, you can find us on Facebook. Um, yeah, those are the two main ones. We don't do a whole lot of TikTok.
We don't know. Yeah.
No worries. I will have those linked in the show notes so people can just easily click and find you guys and
Okay.
contact you if they want to hire you for their next event. All right, Serge and Mary, thank you so much. Thanks for
Thank you very
joining.
much
This
for
has been
having us.
wonderful. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.